Welcome to a wrap-up of April, which is National Financial Literacy Awareness Month. So I have the most appropriate guest joining me today. He's the founding executive director and publisher for the Financial Awareness Foundation. Valentino Sabuco, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
You have the perfect background here, sir, and I'm sure we'll hear more about this with over 40 years of experience as a fee-only personal business financial planning professional within a CPA firm. As a principal and private practice in the past, just to mention a very little bit of your background. And now most recently, I know the Financial Awareness Foundation has also been expanding beyond the United States, very much so. The movement started here in the United States, but now is in 4 African countries, also in India and Brazil, with discussions starting in half a dozen more countries as well. So I'm excited to hear more about that today, but I know that when we hear the word financial literacy, maybe we should all get on the same page of, all right, so why is financial literacy important, especially today? I'm sure you've seen the interest and the need for that just evolve over the years.
No. Well, thank you, Marie, and happy Financial Literacy Month to everyone, and also happy springtime, and hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, and we can really have a kind of a new beginning or springing forward out of this last couple years of challenge. The area of personal finance and financial awareness and literacy, we think kind of tie together. We hear a lot of times the discussion around financial literacy, but it belongs with a financial awareness, we believe. As executor with the Financial Awareness Foundation, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and our mission is to significantly improve financial awareness and financial literacy. Before entering the nonprofit space over a decade ago, enjoyed a 40+ year career pioneering the financial planning industry and the fee-only financial planning as a new profession in the US. So that kind of goes back into the 70s. So some of the materials that we share, we've got an interesting experience level, not at the corporate level, but actually working with people at the base level. And during this time, we've worked with people with different wealth levels, from people just starting out to people very well healed financially, if you will, and personalities and family backgrounds and nationalities and religious beliefs, which sometimes conflict with our laws. So it's an interesting combination. And over this time, we had, as an observation, we constantly came to the conclusion that the lack of financial awareness and financial literacy can be traced to the roots of so many of our social and economic challenges and personal financial complications. As noted, these problems not only face individuals and their families, but the communities and our economies. And that many times there's been many fine governments and politicians and quality organizations and great charitable operations that spend literally billions of dollars annually providing assistance treating many of these social symptoms. But very little do we see that are focused on the core issue in creating a more financially knowledgeable public base. And to educate and empower individuals so they can make better informed lifelong money decisions. Were you ever taught the essential principles to smart money management, the foundation to personal finance knowledge at school or in home? Without these important life skills and understandings, how can people thrive without ongoing understandings and assistance? The current process seems to create a real dependency and perpetuate many of these social problems, and it's not a viable solution. It's extremely expensive for individuals, families, their overall communities and economies, and then the ultimate safety net, the state, federal, and local governments. We look at the social welfare burden that is on our economy, it's huge. But if we could empower people to make better financial decisions and build wealth, and within their family units, a lot of those costs could go away. So it's kind of a area that we think is really important, and would like to encourage more people to deal with this. It was important before COVID-19, and we thought we had a financial illiteracy epidemic prior to COVID. We think that's been accelerated now. How do you see things in Arizona?
I think you touched on a very valid point, and that's that it's really a domino effect. It's affecting individuals and families, and COVID-19 absolutely, I think, really helped to shine the light on the disparities there between how different individuals and different families were maybe more or less affected. But then that domino effect of if individuals and families are affected, then their communities are affected and their local economy is affected. And if all of our local economies are affected, our entire national economy is affected. So truly the importance of financial literacy is that it's because it affects everyone, no matter where they live, what they do, what their economic status is, because it's a life skill. It's something that we all have to deal with on a regular basis with or without COVID. So when we talk about financial literacy, Valentino, how do we define financial literacy? How do we know if we are financially literate?
Well, I'm going to put on the shared screen because I'm going to share something here too,
Okay.
if this goes along with that.
Yeah.
Our definition of financial awareness is being able and aware on how we make, spend, and manage our money, and our current and future financial situations and transactions, and the financial circumstances around us and the world. Just like with COVID hitting, that has a different effect financially on all of us. Some people, we lost our job. We may even lost our career because we may not be able to go back to that line of work. Others, we can just make a minor change and work at a home and continue doing what we're doing. So financial awareness, we need to be looking at not only what is affecting us personally, but around us. And in our future, if we've just graduated from school, what type of careers are we dealing with? As we get married and maybe have children, and then our children grow up and we have grandchildren and we think of retiring, each of those circumstances affects our lives. And so when we look at the definition of financial literacy, we're looking at our definition is the understanding and effective use of the essential principles to smart money management, the foundation of personal finance knowledge, to address everyday money decisions in an informed manner. This empowers people to, one, make wiser, informed, lifelong money decisions, work more effectively with financial professionals and financial product providers to get the best results from time and money, and to get and keep one's financial house in order by having a current financial estate and gift plan, and then be able to pass on our values, knowledge, and assets to future generations and to charitable causes to help make this a better world. And this gives us the highest probability to reach our family dreams while we live out a financially successful life. Now, this definition is not totally different than a lot of other definitions, and most of them that we see talk about, here's a definition for from the Financial Literacy and Education Commission. This is the ability to use financial knowledge and skills to manage financial resources effectively over one's lifetime. The National Financial Education Council says that it's possessing skills and knowledge on financial matters to confidently take effective action to best fulfill an individual's personal, family, and global community goals. And Jumpstart has a similar one. But each of these definitions, none of them talk about what this set of skills represents or this knowledge. And that led us to create this illustration that's up on the screen now, which we believe is the FA affinity sign for the financial awareness and financial literacy. And it's kind of broken into two spheres. One is getting organized, and that is dealing with paperwork. In the olden days, it was just hard copy papers. Now we're dealing with digital copies, we're dealing with faxes. So managing this both in a location, if you had to get this information and leave because of a fire or a flood or an emergency, or someone was managing your affairs for you because you got sick or you got COVID, where is that at? How do you keep that? What do you own and owe is another important element. That's your net worth. Businesses have a financial statement each month, at least, sometimes more frequently, to help manage the business. But very few households inventory what they own and owe. And at the first of the year, prior to taxes being due, it's a great time to do this. List what you own and owe and compare it to last year. Are you advancing? Or are you going backwards? Is your debts going down or are they going up? Are your assets going up or down? And why? And the same thing with cash flow. How do you make and spend your money? Are you controlling how you're making and spending your money? As we move more with digital transactions, credit card transactions, online transactions, it's not like pulling the money out of your purse or wallet and you don't see it. But at the end of the month, when it all comes back at you, you do. So are you putting money to your future or are you consuming it and then some today? Your employment benefits, the fourth area of getting organized. This is a hidden paycheck for most of us. Are we using this effectively? Employers spend anywhere from 5 to 40% of our salaries in benefits. If we're not using that wisely, we're wasting a large amount of our money, especially if we're buying the same thing with after-tax dollars that they're providing us with before-tax dollars. And so this is a key element of getting organized. Once we're organized, now we're looking at financial planning. What's important to us? What are our goals, both short-term, intermediate, and long-term? What kind of lifestyle do we want to live? Do we want that gourmet kitchen in our fancy home? How much is that going to cost? How are we going to get that money? How are we going to pay for that? How does that affect our retirement or our funding of our kids' education or our grandkids' education? Once we know what goals we're looking at that's important to us, that's a real important driving factor, is it allows us then to be able to plan for our financial independence and retirement. Have you run your numbers for financial independence and retirement? What type of lifestyle will that be? Are you going to retire in Arizona? Are you going to retire in California or in Florida? What does it cost to live at the time of retirement? Marie, there's a good chance you and I are going to live to be 100. The majority of people in the US that reach the age of 70 are almost out of money. So if we're going to live to be 100 and we're out of money at 70, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun in front of us. But if we could be thinking about this as a young person and thinking not retirement, but financial independence, that's a nice goal to work toward. Major expenditures are items outside of normal cash flow. This might be buying a car or buying a house or starting a business or buying a computer. Things that cost money that are normally not in normal cash flow. Usually some planning behind them can save us some serious money. So this area of major expenditures, we don't want to do it as impulse buying. And then investments become important if we're considering planning for financial independence and retirement and major expenditures. How do we work our money? And investments aren't just stocks and bonds and mutual funds. It can be real estate, it can be businesses, it can be collectibles. There's some knowledge behind this before we make informed decisions so we have the best probability of success. And then by default, we're all covered with some form of taxation. We make money, we pay some taxes. This changes politically almost year by year in who's in power. There's a major tax bill that's being proposed right now that could affect a lot of our tax situations, not only in income tax, but estate and gift planning. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Then we deal with risk management and insurance. Many people don't realize there's two kinds of basic insurance. One is financial insurance, which is life, health, disability, long-term care. And then there's property and casualty insurance, which is a different license, a different person, unless they have dual licenses that provide these kind of products. This is your homeowners, your renters, your automobile, your liability, your umbrella, your E&O. And then we have estate and gift planning. And estate and gift planning, we have a certain set of laws in place right now that are planned on changing in 2025 unless there's a tax reform before that. And right now, people can pass on over $11 million indexed to inflation to anyone they want to with no form of federal estate taxes. Each state's got their own set of rules. But there's a bill pending or just being proposed that will lower the gift tax from 11 million to 1 million per person, and lower the estate tax credits from 11 million in index to inflation to 3.5 million. So a husband and wife today can live over $22 million to their kids, their friends, their family, with no taxation from federal for estate taxes. If this new bill passes, that'll drop to 3.5 million each to 7 million, which will affect a whole lot of different people. So this little graph, for those of you that can see this, of the elements of personal finance and financial literacy is in an infinity sign. And it was created as such because it's lifelong. If you can learn the fundamentals in each of these areas early on and then review and adjust them each year as you go forward, this becomes part of your lifestyle. This is part of lifelong learning skills and tools, can make a world of difference to your informed financial decisions.
So it really is an ongoing process as we go through different life events, but it's about making, spending, and managing, as you mentioned, our money throughout our lives. So what has the Financial Awareness Foundation recognized as how to be part of the solution then for trying to increase this financial literacy across the world, actually?
Right. Well, we think we've got this, epidemic, but I think there's a solution to this. And this solution revolves around better educating the general public, the rich and poor, the educators, the financial service, and nonprofit professionals to these essential principles of smart money management. And then to motivate them to keep their financial house in order with an up-to-date estate and gift plan and financial plan. And that's why really we started the idea of this movement, improving financial awareness and literacy movement, over a decade ago, where it has two strategic personal finance content media blitzes. One is in April, which is this month, and the other is in October, which is Estate and Gift Planning Awareness Month, 6 months from now. If you Google Financial Literacy Month and take a look at the number of organizations that are participating with this, let's see if I can do that here. If we just key in Financial Literacy Month in Google, you can see thousands of organizations that are participating in this. You've got money managers, you have financial advisors, you have financial coaches, you have banks, you have insurance companies, you have stock brokerages. Each are talking a little bit about their particular area of interest. This is one that I'd like to show. This is Utah Money Moms.
Oh, yes.
And they're from Utah State University. And it's a group of moms that have gotten together that know personal finance is important. And so during each April, they put together some giveaway programs. They have some blog posts, and they have some live events trying to coach and introduce people to personal finance. And so we think if we can get the financial service industry, the public involved with this, this can go a long way to helping with this financial illiteracy epidemic. We've also begun sharing and have shared from our website a collection of tools that you can access. There's no cost to these. We have a financial literacy assessment tool. You can go to the website, which is the financialawarenessfoundation.org, go to downloads. Here you'll see the affinity sign graphic that we just talked about, and beneath those is a collection of downloadable materials about the movement and how you can participate, becoming an ambassador for the foundation. That's how Marie and I first met. She became an ambassador, and now she's an actual board member for our Financial Awareness Foundation and doing a fantastic job. We have publications. Here's an assessment tool for you. This is a personal financial checkup. 20 simple yes and no questions to see how financially aware and literate you are. You might be surprised in taking that because you might be blindsided to some things you're not aware of or thinking about.
That's a great.
We also have a financial fitness calendar. This area doesn't need to be complicated or hard to deal with, but there are a collection of principles. And if you can address a little bit each month, by the end of the year, your financial house can be in order. We've also got a set of personal finance publications that you can download at no cost. We call this the personal finance publication set because this has the fundamentals to personal finance. And once you have these, this is not a do-it-yourself type of toolkit. It's an empowerment so you can do things better with your financial professionals, and you can ask the right questions before you make financial decisions and then find out without those questions, you made a big mistake because they changed the rules or the laws or your situation on you. So
that happens over and over again, but I can't thank you enough for the wealth of resources that you have made available to the public as well as professionals. In addition to your website, just so our listeners are aware, and we'll put this all in the show notes, the financialawarenessfoundation.org has all of these materials at no cost. I encourage you to check them out. I also have a full tab on my website, mindmoneymotion.com, with the exact same links to these materials that are so helpful from the Financial Awareness Foundation. So you need to keep on doing what you're doing, Valentino. There's a huge need. I don't know that we're out of the illiteracy epidemic yet, but at least there seems to be becoming more interest, and that's encouraging all by itself. So we'll keep on looking forward to future Aprils, but do our work really through the rest of the year as well.
Thank you. And please keep up the good work as well. This helps solve a major problem, and we can have fun doing this. This doesn't have to be boring and not exciting. This is our lives. So let's make the best of it. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.